Welcome, everyone. Well, we certainly have a full house, fuller than expected. This is lovely. Thank you all for joining us today. It seems the weather is in our favor. Great to see you all. It is our pleasure to welcome you to the SafePoint LightHouse. Grand opening and ribbon cutting. To start off the day's remarks, I'm going to introduce our CEO, Limaris Albor, CEO of Acacia Network. Thank you.
Welcome, bienvenidos, esteemed guests and partners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You cannot see me back then, but you can hear me. Welcome, Honorable Secretary of State Robert Rodriguez. Welcome, OASA's Commissioner Dr. Shinazo Cunningham. Welcome, Mayor Wilfred Rosa, County Executive PJ Wendell Jr., Mayor Edwin Sundquist. Did I say it right? And all of you friends and supporters. It is an honor to be here with you today, celebrating the opening of Acacia Network's SafePoint LightHouse, a new integrated, addiction treatment facility in Dunkirk, New York. Through this clinic, Acacia Network is proud to continue expanding our footprint throughout the state of New York and to now serve the city of Dunkirk, which boasts a growing Latino population and which, like many communities across the country, has suffered as a result of the ongoing opiate epidemic. In 2020 alone, Chautauqua County overdose deaths rose 18%. We are hopeful that the SafePoint Lighthouse will serve as a beacon of hope in the community to bring much needed services and relief to those who are struggling with substance use. The SafePoint Lighthouse, which will officially open its doors tomorrow, will serve hundreds of individuals annually through integrated behavioral health and addiction services that include medication-assisted treatment, MAT, counseling, peer support services, relapse prevention, and much, much more. We are grateful and honored to continue working with our partners, the State of New York and its Office of Addiction Services and Support, OASAS, to continue meeting the needs of those most vulnerable so that together we can prevent further unnecessary deaths as a result of addiction. And we thank the City of Dunkirk, Chautauqua County, Mayor Willie Rosa, and County Executive PJ Wendell for their partnership and support to make this clinic possible. We look forward to serving this great community and to helping individuals from all walks of life to reclaim their life. Mayor Rosa. Lo prometido era deuda, and I am incredibly honored to look to you eye to eye after more than 7 years. Our word is our word. So today I congratulate you. I know the need. I know you're asked for so long. So for me to be here telling you that tomorrow we open, it's an honor. So thank you so much. And I now have the pleasure to introduce our real leader, my boss, Madam Chair Carmen Villalugo.
Welcome. Thank you all for being here. This endeavor is a partnership in the truest sense of the word. Each person here represents a commitment to take care of our own, to not pretend that the problems don't exist, to not look the other way when we have such a crisis on our hands. Your Dunkirk crisis is our Dunkirk crisis as well. So thank you for all of the visionaries that saw this and said, we're gonna get this done. Promised to get it done. Thanks to all of those who moved the mountains that may have been successful but for their tenacity. You look at the Rusis, those are formidable brothers that partnered with Mayor Rosas and said, let's get this done. Acacia prides itself, and I'm like a proud mama, as young as I am, prides itself in saying, we don't tell you what to do or how to do it when we partner with a community. We say, tell us what you need, tell us how we can help, and let's be partners. And that's where we are with you. To the staff who's going to man the SafePoint Lighthouse, I love you. Congratulations, because you are special people that have committed to do this. And, you know, I could talk all day, and I'm already getting the signals, you know, this means cut. But congratulations, and thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This community, I share with the Commissioner, means amazing things to me and my family. My parents would come here from Buffalo, down the street to a little club, one of the first Puerto Rican clubs in Western New York, to socialize and to connect with their history in Puerto Rico. The Rosa family and my family have known each other for almost 50 years. So when the mayor called and asked us to think about Dunkirk, it was a no-brainer, but it was a lot of work. And you know, the system being what it is, it's not easy. So to me, this day is a unique and special day, and I thank so much Commissioner Cunningham for being here. My friend, the Secretary of State, Robert Rodriguez, who's worked with me on multiple projects in New York City to help those communities. I thank you so much. Mayor Willie Rosa is like a brother. Executive Wendell, County Executive Wendell, I don't know you, but I know you now. And you look like my partner in the police department at one time. You're a burly guy ready to go. So we can go anywhere together, right? Absolutely. So, and then of course, the Jamestown Mayor, Eddie Sundquist, thank you for joining us today. This is so important to us. Over the past 20 years, it has been my mission as president of Acacia to build one of the largest and strongest network of integrated service in the nation. It was a mission that was handed to me by a former commissioner of Oasis, Julio Martinez, who really believed that there had to be a way to change the odds for our people. And he was the one that sort of said to me, him and Charlie Laporte said to me, there has to be a Latino organization that can sit at the table when decisions are made, when missions are made, when decisions are made about our community. So Oasis has been at the heart of the growth of Acacia. Each milestone like this one is an important step in the effort to serve communities wherever they are. Our CEO, Maris Arbor, remarked earlier that this would not be possible without the support of the state of New York and the Office of Consular Services. I can't tell you with more stronger words of what Oasis historically has meant to the Acacia Network. We really would not be here for that. Today marks another achievement in our joint efforts to tackle the growing opioid epidemic, which claims thousands of lives every year. This epidemic does not discriminate. We've seen time and time again how it can affect any individual, any family, regardless of ethnicity or socio-economic background. However, communities of color often do not have access to bilingual, bicultural, competent services that can address their needs in a way that speaks to them and takes into account their background. As a Latino-founded and led organization with deep community roots, Acacia Network is proud to be there for them and to provide culturally responsible solutions to the opiate epidemic in the communities most in need, such as Dunkirk. We look forward to continue our work with Oasis, the City of Dunkirk, Chautauqua County, and any community that we would like our presence. We don't go where we're not needed or where we're not welcome. If you think your community would love Acacia there, talk to us. We go where we're asked to go. So to me, this facility is going to save lives. SafePoint LightHouse is a place where people will land to live again, to be safe. And I'm proud to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we'd like to introduce Secretary of State Robert Rodriguez.
Thank you, and good morning. It's great to be here with you in Western New York. I'm Robert Rodriguez. I'm the Acting Secretary of State, and hopefully by the end of the week, acting will be done. It's my pleasure to be here with you today on behalf of Governor Hochul, who regrets that she could not make it due to other engagements, but she really wanted the entire team to be here to express how important this is to her vision about putting people first and making sure that we take care of all the communities around the state. But before I offer my brief remarks, I'd like to recognize the leadership here at Acacia, Raul and Limaris, and Chair Lugo. Thank you for your commitment to the Latino community, but also making sure that we take care of everyone where they are and making sure we do it in a culturally responsible way. And this facility, SafePoint LightHouse ribbon cutting, is an example of what you do in communities across the state and across the nation, so thank you. I'd also like to thank and recognize my colleague, Dr. Chinazo, the Oasis Commissioner. I know that her agency worked very closely with Acacia over the past few years. I've heard about some of the trials and tribulations, but we are here to finally bring that project to fruition and to cut a ribbon on something that is going to be truly exceptional for the region. So thank you, Doc. And I'd also like to make notice of our regional director, Joan Kessner, who is somewhere around here. But and thank you, Mayor Rosas. There you are. Joan, you're in the back, but we know that you helped run the team here in Western New York, so you have your finger on the pulse of everything that's happening here. Of course, Mayor Rosas, thank you for your vision in terms of making this a reality, and County Executive Wendell and Jamestown Mayor Sundquist for being here. And I mentioned on the way in, I think we have a model that might be replicated in other places. So I think the success here will demonstrate what we can do and should be doing in other communities. And finally, I'd like to thank Geno Rusi of the Hispanic Unidos de Buffalo for your partnership. I feel like I finally met the other half of the family today. Raul's been occupying all my time in New York City stuff. Finally, I made it over. And I got to meet the famous Geno Rusi. So in my role as Secretary of State, I oversee the Department of State, which is one of the most diverse agencies in all of New York State government. We provide essential services and assistance to communities and local governments, businesses, licensees, consumers, new Americans, and community organizations and residents across the state. And we oversee a number of economic development initiatives in the state, including the Brownfield Opportunity Area, of which Dunkirk is one of them, as well as other development projects like the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, of which we hope Dunkirk will be a future awardee when that time comes. But it's important that we recognize that we have the former steel mill, downtown center, and waterfront, and those are all the combinations that help make for important economic development. But turning to today's announcement, economic development and community planning is great, but if you're not taking care of people and providing healthcare services and important services, then what are we developing for? And that's why it's really a pleasure to be here to cut the ribbon here on the SafePoint LightHouse, because it's needed, and integrated addictive services for adolescents and adults have been sorely lacking. We also know that we have all struggled to cope with the ongoing impact of COVID-19. Over just the past 2 years, we've seen substance abuse and overdoses rise across the state. COVID-19 also highlighted the disparities that existed all along. Communities that have been traditionally underserved, the Hispanic community, and the healthcare system have been particularly hit hard by COVID and the impacts of substance abuse. And we know that addiction doesn't discriminate, and it devastates all families the same. So thank you to the leadership of Governor Hochul and the work that's being done by our partners at Oasis. And we'll continue to do all that we can for New Yorkers to access treatment, support, and the resources that they need to fight addiction. And the governor's efforts are helping to ensure that New Yorkers in underserved communities have the resources they need to address addiction and move toward recovery. So this state-of-the-art center, which we saw with the waterfall, providing Zen happiness, as you're on your way to recovery, is an example of the medically assisted treatment to counseling and peer support to relapse prevention that needs to be part of the holistic care model to making sure that folks can come back for recovery. So it's really an honor to be here. I want to say thank you all to the folks who will work here and provide that important care to individuals in their community. And thank you all to the leaders who have made this happen. We're here to celebrate this, but also recognize that it is the beginning of a transition and a transformation in the lives of people, in the lives of families, and something that New York State is proud to support. So thank you, and it's now my distinct pleasure to be able to introduce our commissioner for the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports, Dr. Chinaso Cunningham.
Thank you so much. So I have been the commissioner of Oasis for all of 3 months. And so for me, this is particularly special today to be here for the first ribbon cutting here at SafePoint LightHouse. So I want to say congratulations to the staff, the leadership, and the board at Acacia Network. And as we've heard from other speakers, this has been an ongoing, long process that is really wonderful to see the perseverance to really provide the support and services that are needed in this community. I also want to recognize state leadership, local leadership here, because clearly without your support, this can't happen. And it's such an important thing for communities to really embrace and address the needs of communities that are underserved. So Oasis, we have a long history of partnering with Acacia Network as we certify services across New York State. I, prior to coming to Acacia, had worked in the Bronx for 22 years, so I am very familiar with all of the services that Acacia provides in New York City, in Albany, Buffalo, and now here in Dunkirk. So Acacia has over 20 programs across the state and is really such an important provider of services, and we really value the partnership that we have with Acacia Network. Acacia has been a long leader in the field of substance use, and I just personally really appreciate all of the really long-standing investment in human beings and in the communities to address substance use, which really over the years has been quite stigmatized, and to be leaders in this area that finally, substance use, I think, has gotten the recognition of the need to provide services in a dignified, respectable way. And in going through the tour of the facility, we can really see, just in the presence of the dignity and the respect that's brought to individuals who are struggling with substance use, and to do this, providing life-saving treatment, medication, and behavioral health services, so important and so critical. And Acacia Network has really been a leader in this for decades. As you also heard, overdoses have really gotten worse. We are in the worst point that we've ever been in the country, and nobody is spared. We know that here in Chautauqua County, that overdoses have risen by 18%. And so these are critical services that are needed more than ever. So, we continue, I look forward to continuing our partnership at Oasis with Acacia Network and with SafePoint LightHouse. I'm really proud that this is the first opioid treatment program in the county. And I'm really proud that this is also really addressing the stigma and the services that are needed in underserved communities, there's no doubt that the services here will save lives. And again, this is needed more now than ever. So I look forward, as the Commissioner of OASIS, to continue our partnership with Acacia Network, and I'm really just congratulations to Acacia, to the staff, leadership, the board, and the local leaders here. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cunningham and Secretary of State Acting, although maybe not for long, Rodriguez. And now we'd like to invite County Executive PJ Wendell to say a few words. Yes, there he is. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and truly it is an honor to be here this evening. For the past several years, we have had the growing need for medically assisted treatment here in Chautauqua County, because if we want to get people back into a working environment, they can't take a day off to travel to Buffalo to seek that needed help. We need it right here in Chautauqua County. Unfortunately, there is a growing need. You know, people that know me for the last 27 years, I've been an EMT, and in my house, and my wife gets a little upset, I have my pager. And every ambulance that goes out in Chautauqua County, we hear those calls. And I hate to say almost daily, unresponsive overdose, unresponsive Narcan administered. I've used it myself to save lives. And unfortunately, as we went through the COVID pandemic, we took our hat off and started getting back to work. The opioid pandemic never left us. That was the pandemic that continued all the way through. So I remember when I first became county executive, I met Geno at one of our IDA meetings about this project, and really excited about what they could do for the residents of Chautauqua County. And here we are, 2 years later. As I prepared most recently for my State of the County address, I looked back at some of the other State of the County addresses, and they were talking the same things. Population decrease, economic development, businesses lost. I will tell you, my commitment is to make sure that in 20, 30 years, we are not still talking about the opioid pandemic here in Chautauqua County. We are making strides, and we are helping people be safe and be better. Point Gratiot is a lighthouse in Chautauqua County, one of the longest and upstanding and long-standing lighthouses, and it's almost fitting, as was said before, that SafePoint LightHouse will be a beacon of hope for those in need of services. So on behalf of myself, in recognition of this ribbon cutting today on March 2nd in the city of Dunkirk, this new addiction treatment clinic provides residents much-needed mental health and substance abuse treatment services to North County residents. Acacia Network's culturally competent care investment in the community in Chautauqua County is greatly appreciated. Signed by myself. We know this epidemic knows no boundary, it knows no ethnicity. We need to come together and work, and I believe this is the start of a beautiful friendship here in Chautauqua County, but one that will provide treatment for our residents. So on behalf of myself and the residents, thank you for your efforts.
Thank you so much, County Executive Wendell. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mayor of Dunkirk, Wilfred Willie Rosas. Welcome.
Thank you. I just want to welcome everyone here to the city of Dunkirk, and on behalf of all of our city residents, I would like to thank the Acacia Network. The leadership of the Acacia Network was proven here today. A promise was made to our community that they would help me with the issue of the opioid pandemic. This has been a real pandemic. When I was elected mayor back in 2016, I was sworn in. I became the first elected Hispanic mayor in New York State history. I mention that because immediately upon becoming the mayor, I was getting phone calls from organizations across the state and across the country. This was a real big deal. And the honeymoon ended real quick. Because when I came back to work, one of the first issues that I had to deal with was the fact that people were dying here in our community. And I had family members that came to see me to ask me why we didn't have these services, why we were not providing these services to save lives here in our community. And I had no answer for them. I remember going out to Albany, and I remember talking to other mayors, and some of the mayors were telling me that they find it hard to believe that as the mayor in our community, that I was there to advocate to bring these type of services to our community. That's what I was being told. And I came back and I thought about it, and I remember that I had spoken to a parent who wanted to save her daughter. And one day I opened the local paper and I saw the obituary. She overdosed, she died. That's the day that I said, I need to do something. And I made a phone call to my friends. And I met with them and I told them, this is a problem. What's right is right, what's wrong, it's wrong. And we need to do something that's right to save people. And that's what we did. I advocated, I went to the governor's people, I went to the commissioner of Oasis, I went to the Acacia leadership, and I advocated because it was the right thing to do. So today I stand before you as a proud mayor to be the mayor that was able to help bring these services to our community that will save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Rosas. And before we head over to the ceremonial ribbon cutting, I'd like to introduce our Regional Director, Geno Rusi.
So first of all, let me thank all the staff, all the people that were involved in putting this together. There was a ton of people from the Acacia Network, from procurement, from the people that did the financial work for us. I mean, there's just a ton of people down in New York City to help us out, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. We couldn't have done it without you. David Calamore, who has been great in guiding us through this whole process. The chairwoman advocating for us, Limares, Raul, and then our staff here in Buffalo. The group that's here now, and of course my partner Liz Smith, who's been just a terrific person. Thank you, Liz. Another person that I would like to also thank, who came with me during a bunch of snowstorms out here, David Rodriguez. Where's David? David and I tracked through the snow to take and get to look at all the different sites. So thank you very much. So a while back, I came up with a code name for the program, and I kind of presented that to the administration, and they said that's not a good name. You need to go back and you need to rethink the name and put some real heart into it, and really come up with a name that really signifies who we are, what we're doing. So I was sitting there licking my wounds, taking the dagger out of my heart, and I looked at the wall, and I have a picture of El Moro in Puerto Rico that I had for 20 years. I had it at parole, and I had it in my office. And I looked at the top of it, and all of a sudden I saw this little thing sticking out, and I went up to it, and I looked at it real close, and I said, wait a minute, that's a lighthouse. I didn't know that they had a lighthouse in El Moro after all the time that I've been there. And then I remembered that lighthouse looked familiar, and I said, where have I seen that lighthouse before? PJ Wendell mentioned it. The lighthouse right here on the corner. It looks just like the one in Puerto Rico. And what does a lighthouse signify? For me, I've been out in the lake. I'm a boater, and I've been boating for 45 years. Raul and I got into a storm one time where the lake kicked up really, really quick, and all of a sudden we're in 8 and 9 foot waves. My father was lost at sea for 4 days and 4 nights. Everybody on the boat with him died. He was the only one that survived. So what does it signify for me? It signifies that light that guides you to a place of safety. It brings you into the harbor. The harbor is here in Dunkirk. So all of a sudden it came to me, SafePoint, SafePoint LightHouse for the harbor in Dunkirk. So ladies and gentlemen, SafePoint LightHouse.
Thank you. Geno, Rusi. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, right? We'd love to make our way over to the SafePoint LightHouse for the ceremonial ribbon cutting. We have a few scissors, so everybody can cut away. Let's make our way over there. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'll try and set
All
up
right.
the elevator.
And then now, everybody good? All the media? Everybody got one? Okay. And now we can do the ceremonial.
We really do it?
Ribbon. We officially announce.
3, 2, 1.